If you're a pilot, or even just learning to be one, you know the sky kind of speaks its own language. Well, today, we're going to learn how to become fluent. We're decoding METAR and TAF reports, two of the most critical weather documents you'll ever use.
This really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? This isn't just about passing a test or memorizing some codes. This is about safety. It's about confidence. It's about making the right call when it truly matters. For any pilot, understanding weather is absolutely fundamental. So, here's our flight plan for today. First, we'll talk about why you should think of weather as your co-pilot. Then, we'll break down the METAR, that's the weather now, and the TAF, which is the weather ahead. Then, the fun part. We'll decode a real report together, and we'll finish up with some practical tips to help you achieve mastery. Okay, let's get into it. I want you to stop thinking of these reports as some difficult, coded language you're forced to learn. Instead, think of them as a direct line of communication with the sky. You know, they're your most reliable co-pilot, always giving you the critical info you need to fly safely.
So right off the bat, here's the #1 distinction you have to get straight. A METAR tells you what the weather is doing right this second at an airport. It's a snapshot in time. A TAF, on the other hand, tells you what we expect the weather to do later on. It's a forecast. One is now, one is next. Getting that difference down is step one.
Let's start with that immediate picture, the here and now, the METAR. This is the report that grounds you, quite literally, in the reality of the present moment.
So a METAR, which stands for Meteorological Aerodrome Report, is issued at regular intervals, usually every hour, sometimes every half hour. And its whole job is to give pilots a super clear, concise look at what the conditions are right there, right on the ground.
Honestly, the best way to think about a METAR is to imagine it's a photograph. It just captures everything in a single instant. The wind, the visibility, the clouds, exactly as they were at that very moment. No more, no less.
And when you look at that photograph, what do you see? You see all the critical stuff. Wind direction and speed, which is crucial for takeoffs and landings. Visibility, telling you how far you can actually see. You'll see if there's any weird weather going on, like rain or fog. And of course, clouds, temperature, and that all-important altimeter setting to make sure your instruments are dialed in correctly.
All right, so we've got the now covered with our weather photograph. But as pilots, we don't just fly in the now, do we? We're always planning for what's next. And that's exactly where the TAF comes in. It's our look at the weather ahead.
A TAF, or Terminal Aerodrome Forecast, is purely a planning tool. It's designed to look into the future, usually for the next 24 or maybe 30 hours, and predict how all those same weather elements are expected to change over time.
I love this analogy. If a METAR is that single photo, then a TAF is the movie trailer. It gives you the highlights, right? It shows you the key moments and tells you how the weather story is likely to unfold over the course of your planned flight.
Let's just put them side by side to make it crystal clear. METAR, it's for right now, a snapshot for immediate go/no-go decisions. TAF, it's for later, a 24-hour forecast for your overall flight planning. They're two totally different tools for two very vital jobs.
Okay, theory is great, but now let's see how this actually works in the real world. We're going to grab some real, live reports from Mumbai's main airport and break them down, piece by piece. This is where it gets fun.
And here it is, a real METAR. At first glance, yeah, it looks like a secret code, doesn't it? But trust me, every single part of this string has a very specific meaning, and together they tell a really detailed story about the weather. So let's break it down.
Let's decode this thing together. First up, VABSB. That's just the airport code from Mumbai. Easy enough. Next, 05120Z. That's the date and time, the 5th day of the month at 12 Zulu time. Now the wind, 15010 KT. That's wind from 150 degrees at 10 knots. Visibility is 6,000, which means 6,000 meters. The letters RA, that just means rain. We have scattered clouds at 2,000 feet. The temperature is 25 degrees Celsius with a dew point of 22. And finally, A2998 is your altimeter setting. See? Once you know the pattern, it's a pretty clear story.
Now let's look at the TAF. It starts off looking pretty similar, but you'll notice it has time periods and this special keyword right in the middle, BECMG. This is where that whole movie trailer idea comes to life, signaling a big change in the weather plot. So this forecast is good for 24 hours. The first part tells us the initial conditions are pretty stable. But then you see that key part, BECMG. This is the forecast telling us, hey, listen up, things are about to change.
Sometime between 18 and 20 Zulu, the wind is going to pick up and start gusting to 25 knots, the visibility is going to drop to just 3 miles in rain, and the clouds will get lower. That one line is absolutely critical if you're planning a flight for later in the day.
So how do you get good at this? How do you make it second nature so you're not even thinking about it? Well, it's all about practice and having a process. Let's go over 4 quick tips to take you from a beginner to being really proficient.
First, just focus on METARs. They're simpler and they help you build a really solid foundation. Second, listen to the live ATIS broadcast at an airport and compare it to the written METAR. That's how you connect the code to reality. Third, just make it a habit. Every day, decode a few reports from different airports. And finally, actually log the decoded weather in your logbook. This directly ties the theory to your real-world flying.
You know, at the end of the day, this skill goes so far beyond just passing a test. It's about developing an instinct, weather intelligence, that becomes part of how you think as a pilot. And that intelligence is truly one of the most important safety tools you will ever have in the cockpit.
Because that's really what this is all about. Learning this language allows you to understand what the atmosphere is trying to tell you moment by moment. The sky is constantly communicating threats and opportunities, so the only question left is, are you ready to listen?